We're going to start with an entry and actually basically a set of entries and transitions, okay? So we're going to begin in an Ashi garami. So turn this way. So guys, everybody come to this side. So we're going to start in an Ashi garami like so. You okay? Yeah. So guys, we're going to start in just a standard Ashi garami like this. This position here, I know you guys all know this position, but there are a lot of subtleties to it that I want to cover so that we really cover all of our bases here. Okay, the first thing is the position of my right foot, the inside foot, is really, really key because that's going to dictate where my right knee, the inside of my right knee can go, and that's very important, okay? I see people do this a lot. Okay, what's wrong with this? The inside of my right knee is not covering the inside of my left ankle, okay? Your ability to cover the inside of your left ankle here is gonna be heavily dictated about where your right foot is. If your right foot is high on his butt, you can get it there, but it's harder. The lower your foot is, so you see, look at my right foot, guys, see how it lowers? That makes it much easier to cover the inside of my left ankle. Here, it creates separation, and I have to like use more force with my hips to get my knee up. Whereas here, this is a lot easier to get, okay? So that's the first detail. The second detail is what my arms are doing throughout this whole sequence that we're gonna look at is highly dependent upon where my hips are, okay? If my hips are high, regardless of the specific entanglement we're gonna look at a few different entanglements. But if my hips are high, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my pointer finger and my thumb, create as much separation between them as possible, and I'm gonna post on my thigh, okay? So stay right here. I'll just go on the other side so you guys can see. Look, my right thumb goes to the inside of my thigh here. My right pointer finger goes to the outside of my thigh. And my elbow is basically elbow and forearm is basically in line with his shin, okay? Now, when my hand posts, it's in the center of my thigh. Don't be too low, because if you're too low, my elbow and forearm are not lined up with his shin. Does that make sense, guys? You want it like this. You see it's like a kind of a straight line up. Because what this is gonna do is, it provides a single like structure of support between my upper body and my lower body, right? You guys see how it's kind of like a straight line running this way? That gives me a good base against his incoming pressure. Yeah, this is what we want, okay? If I don't have this post here, there's a gap, there's a big gap right here where I don't have, my legs are controlling him, and that's good, right? But this adds a lot to it, and it really helps keep my hips very, very high, okay? So I post right here, like so. Right thumb to the inside, right pointer finger to the outside, okay? Elbow lined up with his shin. People ask me all the time, should your elbow be touching the floor? Don't worry about that. That's gonna depend more upon things like how long your arms are relative to like the length of his legs, okay? So don't worry about that. If it touches the floor, it touches the floor. It doesn't. It's not a big deal, okay? So go back to the other side. So I post on my thigh. Okay, sorry. I post on my thigh. My right foot is pretty low on his hamstring. Okay, that's gonna help me cover. See how I'm covering here? Don't neglect this. This is very important. The reason why we're doing this, by the way, guys, is if I'm here, it's much easier for Michael to just push my foot off his hip, and yeah, that's gonna happen sometimes, and we're gonna deal with that. But we want to make that as difficult for him as possible. Okay, so I go here. I'm posting on my thigh, and my toes are pointed out. That's pretty important. My toes are ever pointed in. Yeah, this is not good. There's toe holds. He could even just fall on it and just break my foot. Yeah, that's not good. Okay. Now, if we're reaping, that's a different story. We're going to look at that later. But for just a standard Ashi garami, don't do that. Have the toes pointed out. Posting on my thigh, covering the inside of my ankle. Right foot is relatively low. Okay. This is a good standard Ashi garami now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower my hips. And as soon as my hips lower, I'm gonna take an ankle lock. Whenever my hips come low, I need to control the ankle, okay? Because how he's gonna escape is by pulling the ankle back. Do a bigger motion. If he pulls the ankle back, that's how he's gonna get out. So whenever my hips are low, I need to prevent that by snatching up an ankle lock. Now it's much more difficult for him to do that. The reason why I don't have an ankle lock the whole time is because right now, my forearm, my left forearm, is going to be in the way of my hips getting close to his hamstrings. So I can get my hips pretty high here. This isn't terrible, right? But against the best people, you want to have your hips as high as possible. This is a significant difference right here from this. It doesn't look like it, but when you feel the difference, here, hips are high, posting on my thigh, you'll feel like my hips are in direct contact with his hamstrings. Whereas here, when I take this ankle lock, my forearm is in the way of my, the ability of my hips to get as high as I would like them to get. This is not terrible. You could definitely, this is not bad at all, guys. There's times when I will do this, okay? Maybe, for instance, I'm doing this because I feel like he's just running away really hard. Yeah, and I've got to hold on to something. You know, that might be a reason. But in general, when I want to get my hips high, I don't want an ankle lock. Okay, but as soon as my hips come low, I have to snatch it. So we have to develop a habit of hips are high, post on the thigh, hips come low, take an ankle lock. I'm sorry, the second part doesn't rhyme as well as the first part, guys. Yeah. So hips are high, post on your thigh, hips come low, snatch an ankle lock. Okay, now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a transition to an X guard. So we started in a standard Ashi. Okay, we lower our hips, we take an ankle lock. We can go to an X guard now. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push, I'm going to pull, and I'm going to catch either his ankle or his knee. For now, let's just take his ankle. That's a little bit more standard. So we catch his ankle. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to do a move that's called the Eddie basami. Okay, so this is a sort of a related move to the kani basami. Okay, I'm going to take my left leg, go over the thigh, right leg goes under the thigh, and now I'm going to move my head to the other side, raise my hips, and lock up my legs. So when we do that, look, I have an ankle lock on my left arm. My right arm is gripping the ankle here like this. Okay, I'm just going to switch which arm is doing which. And then when my hips come up, I let go of the ankle lock, I post on my thigh, same thing as we did with the standard Ashi. That you guys are gonna see we're always doing this. Hips come low, I don't care what entanglement you have, you're controlling the ankle with an ankle lock. You could also use a shotgun grip, but for now let's keep it basic. Let's just use an ankle lock. Hips, yeah. You okay?
Yeah.
Keep a good base. Hips come high, step this leg forward, that's good. No, that's backwards, yeah. Post on the thigh, hips come high, post on your thigh, okay? So, again, we're in the standard Ashi. Hips are high, I post on my thigh. Hips come low, we take an ankle lock, we go to an X guard. Push, pull, grip, legs extend. Look at my arms. Left arm has an ankle lock, right arm is just grabbing the ankle. We switch which arm is doing which. My feet cross, my hips come high. I post on my thigh. Okay? Now from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a move to, I'm gonna try to go back to the other side. I'm gonna lower my hips again. When my hips come low, I take the ankle lock. My left foot, the heel is gonna dig into the top of his thigh. I'm pointing my toes. I don't wanna just leave it here for him to heel hook. Yeah, that's not good. So I point my toes and dig my heel into his thigh so that that space where he would take the heel hook, it's not really open for him, okay? Now this right foot comes underneath and I step on my calf and my shin, like so. Okay, so I step like this, right? Now we have what's called a butterfly Ashi garami, okay? So with this position, I want to have a single structure between my left leg and my right leg. That's why I'm stepping here. This is a lot like, this is a lot better for dealing with his incoming pressure than if my feet are separate. Yeah, if my feet are together, when he comes into me, I can deal with the pressure a lot better. When they're together, I can't, yeah. So now, from here, and we'll talk more about each of these individual positions later in the seminar, but we're just gonna look at the transitions now. Now I take this foot, pummel here. Now, my right leg comes back out, and we go back to standard Ashi. So we just did a full loop, okay? I come low, ankle lock, X guard. Hips are high, post on the thigh. Butterfly Ashi, step on your calf, pummel, pummel, standard Ashi. Hips come low, take the ankle lock. Switch sides, hips come high, post on my thigh. Low, ankle lock, butterfly Ashi, back to standard Ashi. And this flow drill, guys, is one of the most important transitional drills you can learn in the whole leg lock game, in my opinion. This is a very fundamental drill. Right now I'm like going speed mode, but when you guys drill it, just do it nice and slow. Because to be honest, that's gonna help you more, but eventually you can do it really fast. And then in real life, when you have to like make these transitions, you're able to, okay? So, any questions before we get started, guys? All right, let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3. Let's look at the same sequence in more detail. Okay, so something I'm seeing a lot of people, it's not like you're not getting it wrong per se, but we can make it better. When we lower our hips from the standard Ashi, we take an ankle lock, and we take this grip on the ankle here, and then we go to the X guard. A lot of people are making the transition kind of like this. What I need you guys to do is, look at where my head is. It's on this side, right? The side that I make the ankle lock on, that's where I need your head to be. Right? If you're over here, this is not good. Yeah, this is weak. So see how here I have an ankle lock and my head's on that side? When I go to the outside Ashi to the other side, you just move your head to the other side as well. And that's gonna happen because I'm switching my grips. And when I switch my grips, it's not like, look at my ankle lock grip on my right hand. This is bad. Make it a deep grip. Your arm should be like all the way to your opposite side pec muscle, okay? So I'm in the X guard, I go all the way across like it's a deep ankle lock grip. Then I raise my hips, then I let go of the ankle lock grip. So somebody was asking me like, when should I be making the ankle lock? When should I be posting on your thigh? This is easy, guys. We always adhere to this rule. If my hips are high, I post on my thigh, always. In the straight Ashi game, there are no exceptions to this. When my hips come low, I make an ankle lock. Okay, always, always, always. Okay, or let me be more clear about that. It's not per se an ankle lock that we have to have. I see right here. It's not an ankle lock per se. We have to have some kind of wedge behind the ankle, making it difficult for him to backstep. There's other grips you can make that can do that, but I'm just showing an ankle lock because it's the most standard, it's the most basic, it's the easiest to use, okay? So, but other grips we could use potentially are, I'm gonna turn this way a little bit. We use a shotgun grip. You could even use a scoop grip where we go underneath, right? These are all wedging grips that are gonna inhibit his ability to backstep with this leg, right? Ankle lock, shotgun, scoop grip. All these grips are making it difficult for Michael to backstep here. And if he backsteps, I'm gonna lose control. And there's a lot of situations where I could also be at risk of getting passed, okay? So when my hips are low, this ankle, I have to control his ability to backstep with it, okay? This one is relevant too, but I would say this is more relevant, okay? So anyway, standard Ashi, hips are high, post on the thigh. Where you post, guys, post directly like in the center. Remember, like the position of my fingers matters. This thumb has to be on the inside. This pointer finger has to be on the outside. If my thumb is in the center of my thigh, I'm not pushing the way I need to. I'm not providing additional like structural support through my arms to my legs. You want to be posting on the inside of your thigh. See, can you guys see my left thumb right now? See how it's actually on the inside position of my thigh. Okay, that's not like an insignificant detail. Make sure you get that. Your left thumb, or the thumb that's of the side that you're on, right? You know, I'm not gonna like do this. That's ridiculous, right? You're gonna go here, right? Easy. So put the left thumb on the inside, right pointer finger on the outside. And now this is really, really good support. Okay. Another question people were asking, a very good question, is when I go to, this is called an outside Ashi, guys. When I go to an outside Ashi, how am I locking my legs? Let's talk about that now, because this does matter, okay? So there are a lot of ways to lock your legs in this position, okay? A lot of ways to lock your legs, okay? Hold on one second, just keep it running. Can somebody, whoever phone that is, just turn that off? It's okay, just keep it running. I'll cut that part out.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, I'll just put like, guys, whenever something like that happens, what I do is I just put like a text box explaining what happened, and then I put like elevator music, so it's fine, don't worry. Anyway, all right, so how do we lock our legs in outside Ashi? So there's a lot of different ways to lock your legs. It's gonna be dependent upon where you are. We're gonna look at this position a lot today, guys. This is one of the big focuses of the seminar. When we're on bottom and someone's over us and they're standing, okay, there's a specific way I want you guys to lock your legs. Take the right heel, point the toes, and dig the heel down like this with the knee pointing out. Now take this leg, my left leg, I go over the top, and the center of my calf hits my ankle, and I back heel there. And the direction of this heel is pointing pretty much straight down to the floor. So if I cross my ankles here, this is not very strong. It's pretty easy for Michael to push my legs down really, really easily. Yeah, you're gonna get this all day. It's really easy for him to do that, okay? Whereas if I take my right leg, okay, point my toes and I back heel. You've gotta point your toes, guys. If I don't point my toes, my back heel is very, very weak, okay? But if I point my toes, my back heel is strong, right? You guys ever do those hamstring curl machines? You always point your toes when you do it, right? You never have like a loose foot and do a hamstring curl. There's no power in your hamstrings there. So I point my toes, I back heel. Now look, my left leg, center of my calf, and I point my left heel down. Now when he pushes down, if I stay here all day, he's still gonna be able to push me down. But this is way easier for me to just hang my weight on it. I'm not using a ton of energy and it's much, much stronger, okay? So 2 key details. The position of my heels, actually 3 key details. The position of my heels, what my toes are doing, and the direction of my heels. Okay, so right here, toes are pointing, heels pointing kind of like down at an angle. Left leg, I go to the center of my calf, and the heel points straight down. Okay, do you guys see what I'm talking about here? And the toes are pointed. I don't have. Look at what my toes just did. Here they're tense. Here they're relaxed legs. He's gonna push that down, and this is bad now. Okay, there's still things I could do here. I could reap, right, which is something we will look at later. But in general, I want to do that on my terms. Like if I'm gonna reap, I'm gonna lower my hips to reap. I want to decide when to do that. I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to have to do that because I have to, right? I want to choose when to do that. So my hips are high. Look at my left leg. It's not triangle deep. This will make this leg slide. It's already sliding. I don't go ankle deep because that's not tight either. I go the center. And now I back heel. It's way tighter now. It's so much stronger. And I'm just kind of hanging on him like a weight. Okay, it's really easy to I can just chill here. Okay, now I'm gonna add support to that by posting on my thigh. Right, same thing we've been doing. That gets my hips a little bit higher, and now I'm really strong. And now we can start doing things like, so I'm gonna bump you back, okay? I can start doing things like bumping him back, okay? Which we're gonna look at next, okay? So he comes back up. But for now, let's just, step that foot forward, a little bit more. Yep, good. For now, let's just focus on this drill for a little bit longer because it's very important, okay? And guys, take it really slow. Don't worry about how fast you're going. Just get all the steps right. Standard Ashi. Hips are high, I post on the thigh. Hips come low. I take an ankle lock. X guard. I'm gonna switch the side of my head. Ankle lock. Hips come high, I post on my thigh. Get the legs in the correct spot. Okay, this is it, guys. If you miss the exact positioning of the heels and everything, that's more advanced. Don't worry about that too much. But for the more advanced guys, that's a good set of details to have. Anyway, the transitions, the flow, that's the most important part, okay? Hips come low. We go to butterfly Ashi. Guys, when I go to butterfly Ashi, this is really key. Look at the direction of my knee. This is bad. Unless you're very flexible, you're not gonna get your right foot in the correct spot. Point your knee out. See how I can step on my calf the way I want? The direction of my knee here is very relevant. Point the knee out. Now I can step on it. You guys see what I'm talking about? See how I step on my calf and shin? This is what we want, okay? If the knee's in, if you're very flexible, like I'm pretty flexible, I could probably get it. Yeah, I can, but it's still like kind of awkward. Point my knee out, easiest thing in the world, okay? So we step here. Now, from here, pummel here, here, and this comes out. We just keep going, okay? Make sense, guys? All right, so don't worry about how slow you're doing this drill. I don't care. You could be doing this drill very, very slow, but as long as you're getting the steps right, that's all that matters, okay? Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3.